Hey man, every man at some point in his life has believed that loyalty can be bought with effort, that if he just gives more, sacrifices more, provides more, she'll finally see his value and stay forever. He believes that if he pours his love into her heart, empties his wallet into her lifestyle, and invests his time into her comfort, she'll repay him with devotion. But the harsh truth men don't want to face is this: women don't care about what you do for them. They don't care about how many hours you work, how many gifts you buy, how many sacrifices you make, because a woman's loyalty is not tied to your actions, it is tied to one thing only: how she feels in your presence. And when those feelings change, all the good you've done evaporates like smoke. Think about it, brother. How many men have been left after years of providing stability, after buying houses, after paying bills, after raising children together? How many men have been discarded even after decades of loyalty and devotion? And what excuse does the woman give when she's asked why she left? It's never about what he didn't do. It's always about what she didn't feel. She'll say, "I just didn't feel the same anymore," or "the spark was gone," or "I didn't feel happy." Notice the pattern: feelings over facts, emotion over effort. Women are not loyal to what you give them. They are loyal to the condition that fuels their emotional state. And once that condition is broken, no amount of doing can save you. Brother, women are loyal to one thing only: their feelings in the moment. That's the brutal truth. If she feels excited, she calls it love. If she feels bored, she calls it falling out of love. If she feels secure, she says you're her man. If she feels insecure, she says you've changed. None of this has anything to do with what you've done for her. You could have worked your fingers to the bone to provide. You could have remained faithful through every temptation. You could have carried her through her darkest hours. But if she no longer feels it, she'll walk, and she won't look back. Because in her world, loyalty is not a principle, it's a mood. And moods change like the wind. This is why men are always left confused after breakups. They replay every sacrifice, every moment of devotion, every gift, every late-night reassurance, and they can't comprehend why it wasn't enough. They think, after everything I did, how could she still leave? But you see, that's the mistake. You thought loyalty was earned through doing, when in reality, her loyalty was only ever tied to what she was feeling. And once her feelings shifted, your actions lost value. It's not that she didn't appreciate what you did in the moment. She may have even loved you then. But when her emotions changed, her truth changed. And in her mind, she wasn't betraying you. She was just being honest about her feelings. Brother, this is why men must stop measuring their worth through what they give to women. Because no matter how much you do, it will never guarantee loyalty. You can provide her with comfort, but if she doesn't feel desire, she'll cheat with the man who excites her. You can provide her with passion, but if she doesn't feel safe, she'll leave for the man who gives her stability. You can provide her with stability, but if she doesn't feel alive, she'll leave for the man who brings chaos. Women are loyal only to the condition that fuels their emotions in the moment, and when that condition fades, so does her loyalty. That's why you must stop giving endlessly in the hope of securing forever, because forever doesn't exist in her world. This is why so many men fall into the trap of overgiving, over-pleasing, and over-investing in women who were never truly loyal to begin with. They think, if I just do more, she'll see how much I love her. If I just prove myself, she'll realize I'm the one. But every act of desperation only kills her respect further. Because in her eyes, the man who gives endlessly without requiring anything in return is not a strong man, he's a servant. And servants are not loved, they're used. A woman doesn't admire the man who bends over backwards to please her. She admires the man who stands tall, who doesn't beg for loyalty, who makes her rise to his standard. That's the paradox most men never learn until it's too late. Brother, women laugh at men who think loyalty can be secured through good deeds, because she knows that all the dinners, all the flowers, all the vacations, all the sacrifices don't matter if she doesn't feel it. That's why she'll accept everything you give her and still walk away for a man who gives her nothing but presents. That's why she'll cheat on the man who provides stability with the man who gives her chaos, because to her, loyalty is not about the effort you put in, it's about the emotions she experiences when she's with you. And when her emotions fade, her loyalty follows. This is why women don't care what you do for them, because doing doesn't control their feelings, and feelings are the only thing they're loyal to. Think about how often you've seen men replaced by someone with less money, less stability, less effort. The wife leaves the husband who worked himself to exhaustion to provide, only to run off with the man who offers nothing but excitement. The girlfriend cheats on the loyal, stable boyfriend with a man who doesn't even care if she stays or goes. It makes no logical sense until you understand the truth. Women are not loyal to effort, they are loyal to emotion. And if another man sparks emotions in her that you no longer do, she will betray everything you've done for her without a second thought, because in her world, logic is irrelevant. Only feelings are real. This is why arguing with a woman about loyalty is pointless. You can lay out every sacrifice, you can remind her of every promise, you can show her proof of your devotion, and it won't matter. She will look you in the eyes and say, "But I just don't feel it anymore." And that's her truth, because she doesn't care what you've done. She doesn't care about the past. She doesn't care about the years. If she doesn't feel loyalty in the present, she believes loyalty doesn't exist. That's the danger of tying your worth to her emotions. They can change overnight, and when they do, everything you built together collapses. Brother, this is why you must never beg for loyalty, never chase validation, never throw yourself into proving your worth to a woman who doesn't feel it, because the moment you do, you've already lost. You've handed her all the power, and she will use it to test, to manipulate, to drain. Instead, you must anchor yourself in the one thing women cannot ignore: your frame. Your unshakable presence, your ability to stay rooted in reality when her emotions shift like the wind, because the man who remains calm when she pulls away, the man who doesn't chase when she threatens to leave, the man who holds his ground when she tests, that man commands respect, and respect is the only soil in which loyalty has a chance to grow. Or you must understand that a woman's loyalty is not tied to your history, your sacrifices, or even your character. It is tied to the state of emotion she feels when she is around you. That's why a woman can stay loyal to a man who has done little for her materially, but who makes her feel alive, while abandoning the man who gave her everything but left her emotionally numb. Feelings are her compass, not logic. And this is where men suffer, because we love with memory and principle. If we gave our word, if we built history, if we sacrificed, we remain loyal. But women love with sensation. If she feels it, she's loyal. And if she doesn't, history means nothing. That's the divide that leaves so many men broken. This is why you see women stay with men who don't treat them well, while leaving men who gave them the world. It's not because they love suffering, it's because the man who mistreats them still makes them feel something. He gives them drama, he gives them chaos, he gives them uncertainty, and while we see that as toxic, she interprets it as emotional engagement. Meanwhile, the stable, dependable man who poured out unconditional love feels like background noise to her. Not because he failed in effort, but because he failed to spark her emotions. That's the cruel reality. Women are not loyal to good treatment. They are loyal to the feelings that treatment generates, and sometimes those feelings come from chaos rather than kindness. Brother, this is why a man must never invest blindly in a woman without watching how she behaves when the feelings fade. In the beginning, she will shower you with affection. She will call you her everything. She will swear loyalty. But that's because her emotions are at their peak. The real test comes later, when life gets mundane, when challenges arise, when her feelings aren't as strong. Does she remain consistent, or does she begin to waver? Because most women, when their emotional high fades, shift their loyalty instantly. They don't see it as betrayal, they see it as following their truth. And if you don't recognize this pattern, you'll end up broken, confused, and drained, wondering why she left after everything you did. This is also why women constantly contradict themselves in relationships. She'll say she wants a strong man who shows his vulnerability. She'll say she wants a provider who doesn't care about money. She'll say she wants a leader who lets her lead. These are emotional contradictions, and men who try to solve them logically will always fail. Because she's not loyal to the logic of her statements, she's loyal to the emotion behind them. If she feels you're strong, she'll demand vulnerability. If she feels you're too vulnerable, she'll demand strength. And in every season, her loyalty shifts to whatever feeling she craves at that moment. That's why chasing her words instead of her patterns is a trap. You can never keep up with moving goalposts, and the more you try, the less she respects you. Brother, here's the cold truth. The one thing women are loyal to is their own emotions. That's it. Not your sacrifice, not your history, not your promises. Their world is ruled by the state of their feelings, and those feelings dictate their reality. That's why she can call you her soulmate one week and block you the next. That's why she can cry tears of love in one season and betray you in another. That's why she can swear forever today and walk away tomorrow. Her forever was only as real as the feeling she had in that moment. and when those feelings shifted, her loyalty went with them. That's why you must stop thinking your actions alone will secure her, because the only thing she's truly loyal to is the shifting weather of her emotional state. This is why so many men get blindsided when a woman leaves them after years of loyalty. He thinks loyalty was built on the foundation of time, effort, and shared memories. But in her world, loyalty was only ever tied to what she felt in the moment. That's why she can walk away from 10 years of marriage for a man she's known for 10 weeks, because to her, the new man provides a fresh wave of feelings, while the old man represents stagnation. Men confuse longevity with security, but women confuse longevity with boredom, and when boredom takes root, loyalty evaporates. She doesn't see betrayal in leaving, because she tells herself, I'm just following my truth, and in her world, that's justification enough. You need to see how dangerous this emotional loyalty really is, because it means you can never lock down a woman by providing, by loving harder, by sacrificing more. You can never guarantee her faithfulness by pouring out your soul, because none of it matters if she stops feeling. And when her feelings shift, her narrative shifts. Suddenly, the very things she once praised you for become the things she resents. Your stability becomes boring. Your loyalty becomes clinginess. Your consistency becomes predictability. And just like that, the same actions that once fueled her affection now justify her betrayal. Because her loyalty was never to you, it was to the emotions you triggered inside her. This is why the man who begs, who over-explains, who argues with her about loyalty always loses. He thinks he can reason her back into loving him. He thinks if he just reminds her of all he's done, she'll realize her mistake. But her loyalty doesn't live in reason, it lives in emotion. And emotions don't respond to logic. That's why men who try to argue their way into a woman's heart end up humiliated. She doesn't care about your PowerPoint presentation of sacrifices. She doesn't care about the facts. She only cares about how she feels. And if she doesn't feel loyalty, she won't act loyal, no matter how strong your argument. Brother, the only way to navigate this truth is to stop trying to buy loyalty with action and instead demand it with presence. A woman may not care what you do for her, but she cannot ignore the man who stands unshakable in his frame. She may not be loyal to your sacrifices, but she respects the man who respects himself. She may not love you for your giving, but she will admire the man who refuses to give up his boundaries. Because even though her loyalty is emotional, women are still wired to follow strength. And strength isn't in overgiving, it's in self-control. It's in showing her that her shifting emotions don't dictate your reality. That's the kind of man who commands loyalty, even if she doesn't fully understand why. And here's the most liberating truth, brother. Once you understand that women are only loyal to their emotions, you stop trying to play their game. You stop breaking yourself to keep her entertained. You stop sacrificing your peace to maintain her feelings. You stop believing her promises of forever. Instead, you anchor yourself in reality. You realize her loyalty is always conditional, always fluid, always fragile. And instead of being broken by it, you build yourself so strong that it no longer matters. If she stays, it's because her emotions align. If she leaves, it's because her emotions shifted. Either way, you don't lose because your loyalty is to yourself, not to her. Unpredictable feelings, and that, brother, is the mindset that makes you untouchable. The most painful lesson for men to accept is that love and loyalty are not the same thing in a woman's world. She can love you in her way, cry for you, laugh with you, swear you're her forever, and still betray you when her emotions shift. That's because her loyalty is never tethered to her words, it's tethered to her feelings. A woman can mean every word she says in one season, and then in the next season, she will contradict everything without guilt. Not because she planned to betray, but because she sees no contradiction in following her emotions. To her, loyalty is only real if she feels it in the present. That's why she can love you deeply one day and walk away the next. Because to her, the emotion changed, and that means the truth changed. Brother, this is why so many men live in bitterness after being betrayed. They keep asking themselves, how could she do this after all I did for her? The answer is simple, because all you did for her wasn't what she was loyal to. You were giving in the language of logic, while she was living in the language of feelings. You thought effort meant permanence, but effort only meant temporary appreciation in her world. And when the appreciation faded, her loyalty faded with it. That's why you must stop torturing yourself with memories of what you gave. It's not that it wasn't valuable, it's that her loyalty was never to your giving in the first place. It was always to her shifting emotional landscape. And here's the real danger, brother. When you don't understand this truth, you become a prisoner to her moods. You start living in fear of what she feels today, adjusting yourself constantly to please her emotions. You start chasing loyalty by performing, overgiving, and sacrificing, and in the process, you lose yourself. That's why so many men end up broken, bitter, and drained, because they try to build stability on shifting sand. But once you understand that she's only loyal to one thing, her emotions, you stop being her puppet. You stop reacting to every shift. You stop bending yourself out of shape. You anchor yourself in reality, and suddenly her storms no longer drown you. The man who masters this truth becomes untouchable. He knows women are loyal only to their feelings, so he no longer seeks loyalty in their promises. He seeks it in their patterns. He no longer tries to buy affection with gifts. He commands respect with boundaries. He no longer breaks himself to keep her satisfied. He builds himself so strong that she either aligns or she leaves. And either way, he wins, because he's no longer chasing loyalty in the wrong place. He understands that a woman's loyalty will always be emotional, and instead of being controlled by it, he uses it. He remains grounded, calm, and firm, and that energy is what pulls women in deeper than anything else. So brother, engrave this into your mind. Women don't care what you do for them because actions don't anchor their loyalty. They are loyal to one thing only, the emotions they feel in your presence, and those emotions shift, fade, and return like the tide. You can cry about it, you can deny it, or you can accept it and rise above it. The moment you accept it, you stop overgiving, you stop begging, you stop expecting permanence. You become the man who stands firm while she sways. You become the man who commands respect, not through effort, but through presence. And when you live this way, you'll never again be destroyed by her lack of loyalty. Because your loyalty is no longer tied to her emotions, it's tied to your truth. And a man loyal to his truth, brother, is a man no woman can ever break.